Welcome back to my class on VLSI design. Today in this video we are going to know IC fabrication process. Different steps involved in IC fabrication process are silicon wafer manufacturing, wafer processing, testing, assembly and packaging. In wafer processing again we have oxidation, photolithography, etching, diffusion and ion implantation and metallization. Is it compulsory to go through all these steps in order to fabricate IC? Yes, because we can't manufacture IC just like that as we are making any circuit on the breadboard or on PCB. We can't manufacture it manually. Why? Because let us have an example of IC7400, which is a simple NAND gate IC. So it is having 4 NAND gates in it, and each NAND gate having 4 transistors. So total number of transistors inside the IC are 16, and here you can observe the size of the chip. So the size of the chip is in terms of millimeters, and even in that small area we require to fabricate 16 number of transistors, and each transistor is having its own source, drain and gate. So we require to fabricate all of them without any overlapping. So it is not possible for us manually fabricating all these things. So we need to go through all these steps in order to fabricate any IC, right? So let us have a video from Intel which is the manufacturing process of its processors. Let us have a look at it. So a pure sand will be going to take. The sand, chemical name of sand is silicon dioxide, or you can also call silica. This sand is going to melt it by pouring it in a crucible. So a crucible is having heating coins to heat that. It is a vessel to hold the silicon. So after heating it around 1700 degrees centigrade, you will get a silicon ingot like this, and that silicon ingot will be cutted into many more wafers. So here it is a single wafer. Here you can observe the processing, wafer processing here. So all the layers are kept onto the wafer. After keeping all the layers, so we are having photolithography. This is photolithography process. Through the mask and the lens, we are exposing the wafer to UV light. After the wafer processing is done, see, this is how all the layers are grown on the silicon wafer. After all the processing is done, all the dies are being cutted with diamond blades, and then we will have probe testing. So after testing, all these ICs are being placed in plastic case. You can observe here, this IC is kept in plastic case, and these ICs we can use in our CPUs. So this is how Intel is going to manufacture its processors. So the same method here we can observe a single crystal growth, that is Zorlowski method. And actually silicon in nature, it is available in polymer polycrystalline silicon, as you can see here in this picture. But it is not possible for us to manufacture IC on this type of silicon. So we need a single crystal in order to fabricate IC. So for that we are going through Zorlowski method. So the Zorlowski method is the same as we have seen in the previous video. So that in that Zorlowski method, one crucible will be there. This is the crucible. Crucible is a vessel, it is like a vessel to hold molten silicon, and this vessel will be having some heating coils in order to heat that, and in that we will have some pulling rod, and this pull rod and crucible will be turned in opposite direction in order to have a silicon ingot. This pull rod is pulling slowly, very slowly up, and you will have this molten silicon cooled, and you will get a silicon ingot structure like this as shown in this figure. And after getting this silicon ingot, we are going to cut off the sharp edges, and we will have only that silicon wafers which are of having in round size, and the each wafer may be of 75 millimeters to 150 millimeters in diameter. And each wafer you can observe here. See the same process here. This is silicon ingot, and this is the crucible which is having heating coils, and if you pull this rod you will get this silicon ingot. So in order to have smooth equal surface wafers, we are going to soften this sharp edges, and after that this ingot is cutted into many more wafers, and each wafer is going to clean now. After cleaning, we will going to smoothen all that wafer surface, and also we will going to grind the edges. After that we will go through mirror polishing, and lastly we will clean that. So this is how silicon wafers are going to manufacture. Now come to the first step of wafer processing, that is oxidation. In this process we will grow a silicon dioxide layer onto the total substrate of silicon wafer. So the use of silicon dioxide here is it can protect the wafer from external diffusion or ion implantation or metallization, etc. And also we can have an insulation between the substrate and the gate. So it can be done in two ways. One is wet oxidation and another one is dry oxidation. This wet oxidation uses water vapor, as we can observe here from this chemical equation, that is Si plus 2H2O at around 900 degrees centigrade will give rise to silicon dioxide plus 2H2, that is this hydrogen gas will go on to air. And this wet oxidation process is used to grow thick oxide layer, where this thick oxide layer is used to define the area where you require diffusion or ion implantation or metallization, etc. And coming to the next one, that is dry oxidation. This dry oxidation uses oxygen gas in order to form silicon dioxide layer. So Si plus O2 at around 1200 degrees centigrade gives rise to silicon dioxide. So this silicon wafer is heated at around 1200 degrees centigrade, and oxygen gas will send onto the total substrate, so that you can have a silicon dioxide layer formed onto the total substrate. And this dry oxidation uses when you require thin oxide layer. So this thin oxide layer is used to have in between gate and substrate, that is it acts as the insulation between gate and substrate. And here the thickness of the silicon dioxide layer, it depends on the temperature and time. So if you take the time taken for wet oxidation, it is in terms of minutes only, but the time taken for dry oxidation, it will be of hours. Now let us come to photolithography. Before going to know what is photolithography, let us see few things which are used in this process. The first one is photoresist, which is an organic polymer sensitive to UV light and resistant to attack by acids. And this is of two different types, positive photoresist and negative photoresist. If negative photoresist is used, where the area which is exposed to UV light get hardened, and the remaining area which is not exposed to UV light will be soft as it is. And coming to positive photoresist, if it is exposed to UV light, it gets softened, and where it is not exposed to UV light, it will remain as hard it is. And how this is the process how you can have this photoresist layer onto the total substrate of the silicon wafer. So it is in the form of liquid only, and that few drops of liquid will pour on the silicon wafer, and then this silicon wafer will be spun very fastly, and then you can have a photoresist layer evenly placed on silicon wafer. And a solvent is used in order to remove that soft PR that solvent we can call it as developer. Now mask. Mask is also called photomask, is an opaque plate, that is non-transparent plate with holes or transparencies in it, which can allow light to shine through the defined pattern. This pattern is defined by the circuit which we are going to fabricate on IC. Now coming to lens. Lens is to scale the mask, that is we will have a miniaturized version of the mask pattern through this lens. And this silicon wafer, which is having photoresist layer on it, will be exposed to UV light through this mask and lens, as you can see here in this animation. So the nanotechnology is the pattern defined on this mask and through this mask and lens. So here you can observe the geometric pattern, the same geometric pattern is miniaturized version you can have in this silicon wafer. So the process of transferring the geometric pattern onto a photoresist material using a mask, you can call it as photolithography. Now coming to etching. This is chemically removing layers from surface of the wafer. So here the etchants we will use are potassium hydroxide, hydrofluoric acid, etc. So most of the cases we will have hydrofluoric acid. So here we can observe the chemical reaction SiO2 plus 6HF gives rise to H2SiF6 plus 2H2O. As we know, water is in liquid form, and also this H2SiF6 is hydrofluorosilicic acid, and this is also in liquid form. So in order to make this silicon dioxide remove, we are going to have this hydrofluoric acid, and this hydrofluoric acid can resolve this silicon dioxide layer, and this will be converted into liquid form, so that silicon dioxide layer can be washed off. Now coming to diffusion and ion implantation. These two are the two different methods of impurity doping. Coming to diffusion, in this impurity atoms or dopant atoms will move from the surface of the silicon by means of substitutional or interstitial diffusion mechanism. Here we can observe the diffusion mechanism. All the atoms from their higher concentration will move towards the lower concentration, and this diffusion requires high temperature and hard mask like silicon dioxide, and the dopant concentration and the junction depth cannot be controlled here, as you can see in this diagram. Now coming to ion implantation, dopant atoms are forcefully added into silicon in the form of energetic ion beam injection. Here you can see these two atoms are injected forcefully, and this ion implantation require low temperature and soft mask like PR mask, and dopant concentration and junction depth can be controlled here, as you see in this picture. Coming to metallization, it provides contacts and interconnections. Most commonly used material is aluminum. The requirements of the material for this metallization are low resistance ohmic contacts and low sheet resistance, reliable interconnections. Now coming to wafer testing, this is the equipment used to test the wafers. So a tester will be there and a wafer prober is there, and this wafer prober is having wafer stage upon which we will place this wafer, and a test head will come from this tester, and the test head will be having spring type contact pins. All these spring type contact pins are connected to probe cardboard, and this probe cardboard is having probe card needle tips, and these probe card needle tips are connected to metallic contacts of the die. And whenever this wafer is placed on this stage, wafer stage, this test head will move to one die first, then the metallic contacts of the die are connected to probe card needle tips, so that the particular die will be tested. After testing of that particular die, this wafer stage is going to rotate it so that another die will come to this test head. So likewise each and every die will be going to tested automatically. So this is what the wafer test setup, and upon which this test head will come and test each and every die. Next, coming to assembly and packaging stage. So in this, all the tested dies will be cutted with diamond blades, and after cutting that dies, each die will be placed in lead frame, and you can see here as this each die is going to placed in lead frame, and that lead frame is again closed with plastic or ceramic case, and that is called encapsulating. And after this encapsulating, these leads will be going to plated, trimmed and formed in a particular shape, and upon this plastic casing, that IC number will be marked, and after that it will be going for packaging. So in this video we have seen different processing steps of IC fabrication process. So those are silicon manufacturing, different wafer processing steps, and testing, assembly and packaging. So in the next video we are going to see how an NMOS transistor is going to fabricate on IC. Thank you.